Sani Dokubo are talking about. What are they looking for? These guys are completely, and they don't know what is happening to them. A lot of their men, a lot of people from Nigerian Delta are not happy with them. And as I'm talking to you, men are going to stand in the nearest future to defend what actually belongs to them.
A good point you have just raised. Then the other time you were talking about the failure of leadership, failure of government. Is it a thing you want to throw more light into, especially as Amnesty International recently accused this federal government, this nascent government, that under the watch of Tinubu, about 120 Nigerians have been killed by criminals that range from insurgency, Fulani herdsmen and all that. Is this something you want to react to?
My brother, of course. Let us see if the security will be improved in this part of in Nigeria. Let us see. We have the so-called service chiefs now appointed by Tinubu. We are praying people should not die. There will be security improvement all over Nigeria, in all the states in Nigeria, especially in flashpoints in the north, where some extremists are killing people at random. That people are still dying. It was still reported this morning that some people died in a location in some part of the north and all that. In the east, everywhere, there is total breakdown of law and order. People are dying. But I want to look at this man. You know, I'm not yet comfortable with how Tinubu is trying to do some certain things, but at least he has just come in. Let us give him some time. I know the man is trying to create a kind of atmosphere where people will start trying to give him some certain percentage of good governance and all that. Having in mind that he is having a case in the presidential election tribunal, the case are there, and there's overwhelming evidence that only court will decide whether this man is going to remain there or not. But so far so good. I will not say anything yet about Tinubu's administration so far until further notice. This needs to be properly defined this time around. No sentiment. It's not a matter of a Santana is there. If he didn't do well, we'll tell him, please step aside. Let us get someone else that is better, that can handle things better the way Nigerians will feel and be proud of.
A good point you just raised, Mr. Chinedu Michael. You just talk about the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. And we're all aware that Labour Party have been tendering evidences to prove their case. And we're equally aware that the council to INEC and APC have been objecting to admissibility of almost all the evidences being tendered by Labour Party, including the number of accredited voters nationwide, including the number of registration nationwide, including from EC8A. What is your reaction, especially as this form, particularly from EC8A, was a certified true copy of INEC itself?
My brother, when I said this earlier on, I first of all called by now, though Tinubu might not be comfortable with it, but if Tinubu has integrity, by now, Mahmoud Yakubu should be kept in EFCC custody until the election result and judgment is being determined.
What do you mean kept in EFCC custody? On what basis? This is a man who has not been prosecuted or sentenced by any kind of competent jurisdiction, and he has neither been indicted. On what basis are you envisaging?
In the media is part of Nigerian problem. Let me explain to you. This is a man who has bamboozled Nigerians, that once you touch the dial or touch the vote, your result will appear, meaning that the election will be electronically transmitted.
Okay, I understand, because INEC actually made commitment of transmitting election results electronically.
Oh, did that happen? It never happened. And that is why a lot of people are in the court today. So, based on that, on the process of that election, based on those process, at least, if it is in a census, okay, what happened was it in Adamawa? One man that we don't even know came out and announced the result. What happened? What happened?
You are talking about UNISA,
yeah,
the State Resident Electoral Commissioner in Adamawa State.
Weren't they looking for him? Why are we not looking for Mahmoud Yakubu? At least so that he will stay in DSS custody until the court proves that actually this election was transmitted and not manually.
What will you say to the people that belong to the school of thought that believes that INEC was not compelled by the Electoral Act to transmit election results electronically, and that it was their own guideline, not that their hands were tied by the Electoral Act?
Well, as amended, if you look at the Electoral Act as amended, when you go through it, you understand that what Yakubu Mahmoud played was just to create a propaganda to make Nigerians to believe that the election is going to be electronically transmitted. That's what he told us. And people came out and felt that this time around their vote is going to count based on that regard. Well, if it is in the INEC guideline to transmit results electronically, then it means Yakubu Mahmoud has no integrity, and by the virtue of the position he occupied, since he has shown that he has no integrity, he should be called to questioning.
I quite understand your angle of argument, because before the governorship election, Labour Party in Lagos State and Akwa Ibom State went to court against INEC, asking INEC to obey their own guideline and transmit the election results electronically for the purpose of Lagos State and Akwa Ibom State. And the court saw reason with them and compelled INEC to do so in both Lagos and Akwa Ibom States. But the argument is, INEC is saying they are not compelled, their hands are not tied by the constitution to do that. It is a leverage. It is their liberty to choose the mode of transmission of election result. What is your reaction even at that?
What we have there is not Yakubu Mahmoud's intelligent electoral commission. What we have there is independent. Independent, that's what they have there. So if it is within the INEC submission that even without the constitutional backing, that the main agenda of them is to make sure that nobody is being rigged in that election, and they brought out a certain guidelines that will make election to be somehow free and fair to an extent. Then, and if he fails, we should hold him responsible. And in this regard, he has failed.
That is what to go home with. We should hold him responsible. Is that a good place to go?
Of course. Like I keep on saying, even before now, where else I granted interview, I told them that I am not comfortable now because Mahmoud is still seen roaming around the street of Abuja, and nobody is holding Yakubu Mahmoud hostage. Like what they did to the man from Yanusa, what you call him, from that Unisa, from that. They were looking. The man went into hiding. We want to see Yakubu Mahmoud running around to defend himself. He stolen a mandate. That thing he did. He stole the people's mandate and gave it to somebody whom he has romance relationship with. Padi, according to Fela.
Thank you for being on this program, Mr. Chinedu Michael.
Yes, I before I round up, please, I want to use this medium to advise Asari Dokubo.